60 million is quite a vast number. There's a lot of customers, clearly, that you guys have. How do you start thinking about even what to do with that customer base?
Yeah, the thing that we've learned is that there's no such thing as the average shopper. And to be really successful, we have to get underneath the skin of averages and understand each individual customer and create a personalized experience for them, which means that, average data is not good enough, and our data and science goes to the individual and explores what makes them tick and what matters to them.
Which really reflects on some of the things you mentioned about data assets not being just your data, but the insights that you gain from them. What have been some of the challenges that your teams come up with that maybe you weren't expecting on this path of really discovering data, how to use it, and then the outcomes of that?
Yeah, the challenges have all been about getting something implemented. Kroger is a large traditional retailer with hundreds of years of heritage. In many cases, they were doing things that they had done the previous year and the decade before that. So getting them to take a leap of faith that the data was showing them a different path was really challenging. And I think in the earliest days, we were focused on the science and the tech. And what we were missing was the storytelling that was required to get somebody to make a different decision and to go with us on that journey.
And that's interesting, actually, because essentially, if I'm not misrepresenting it, you're a startup within an enterprise. Mm-hmm. With that comes, I'm sure, some benefits of having investment capital and support, but also maybe some other things that are not benefits because you're trying to act like a startup. Are there any things you can reflect on in your experience with that?
Yeah, it's actually probably the best of both worlds. So we're small, we're less than 1,000 people, working to influence a 300,000 person larger company. And so we have the scale and we have the funding that we need to do really cutting edge things, but we're able to retain a culture that's really nimble and really agile. And that allows us to kind of go where the data takes us and go where the customers take us.
And speaking about culture, you definitely reflect on it's not just the tech and the data, but really the culture that makes a difference. What is the type of culture that you've tried to create there to enable and empower your teams?
So the biggest factor that creates a good culture for data science to thrive is trust. And that goes both ways. So it goes within the teams that are really embarking on new things and trying new techniques, all the way through to the business stakeholders that have to trust you that you're going to do the right thing for their business, their categories, and their customers. So anytime you can build and improve trust is really key. And that doesn't mean always doing what the easy thing is. And in many cases, it's about shifting into a different gear. But when you have trust, it makes those conversations go a lot more smoothly.
And of course, a big part of that is the culture that you're creating, the talent that you're bringing in. What are some of the things you're looking for in your talent outside the obvious, of course, having data strategy, engineering, or PhD experience? What else are you looking for to make kind of the ideal team?
Yeah. I would say the talent or the skill that makes a team really come to life is storytelling. So we have a lot of great tech talent, we have a lot of great technology, but that ability to actually tell the story through data is really challenging. And when you find people who are really talented in that space, they're absolute gold. They turn something that's boring and tends to be fairly flat into something that has a lot of texture and allows people to really get on board with where we're going. And in fact, many of our most important recruits are people that are not coming out of data science engineering programs or even have data science engineering backgrounds. We're looking for people that have life experiences that can really connect to the human experience. Those are the unsung heroes of data science, but I think will be difference makers for companies that really win in this space.
That's really interesting. Reflect back to maybe your first 90 days taking on this role in this endeavor. Based on what you know today, what would be the advice you give yourself from 18 months ago?
Yeah, it's really interesting. The business challenges and the technical challenges pale in comparison to the people challenges. And when we have strong, really self-directed teams, we can accomplish anything. And not focusing on the business problem and actually focusing on the teams has been the biggest unlock for me. If I could go back then, I would have put all of my focus into the team because I would have gotten to a different spot with my business challenges much quicker. So it's all about hiring great people, empowering them, and then watching them do really creative things.